Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Yanika, and if you are new to my channel, you should know that I moved to Los Angeles 6 months ago, and I did not move with a car. So yeah, I've been basically getting around via public transit and Uber and Lyft. And to be quite honest, it's actually not that bad. It's really not. Like, I think people say a lot of negatives about it, but some of the people who do don't actually take it. I mean, it does have its negatives, but I feel like with the traffic out here, it makes the public transit sometimes feels like heaven. Now, I'm actually in the process of looking for a used car. I'm getting out of the public transit life out here. I need more flexibility in my travels. So I'm getting out of the public transit life. So I thought today is a good day to tell you guys about my public transit and my transportation experience with not having a car out here in LA. So for starters, let me just say, if you're going to move out here without a car, you will need to get one of these, which is a tap card. It's about $2. You can get it at the metro station or any of those stores that sell metro cards. They have them online. I think you can order it online, I should say, and they can mail it to you, but you're better off just going to the store or going to the metro station and getting one. It's $2. And then you can just start loading money on there. So you can load money on there like called stored value, or you can put like weekly pass, day pass, monthly pass, whatever pass you need, you can put it on there. Personally, I've never gotten the weekly pass or monthly pass. I don't see the point of even getting a day pass because transfers are free. But I've used it for my stored value, and at this current time I typically only keep like $60 on it per month because I don't just use the public transit system, I also Uber around, and I'll tell you guys a little bit more on how I do that. So just get a tap card when you first move out here if you don't have a car. Even if you do have a car, a lot of my coworkers, they actually drive to the train station and hop on the train, because the traffic out here is so bad that it's actually better to drive to the train station, hop on the train, and come to work than it is to drive in the traffic, because the traffic horrific, you guys. So get your tap card. After you do that, you can start loading money on there. Like I said, I load about $60 each month, but I typically honestly don't use all of it. So what I do is, like, for April, I think ending March, I had $35 on my card. So what I did, I just put $25 more on it for April, because I know right now I'm like in the process of trying to find a car. Now with the public transit, so the regular fares, like a regular one-way fare on the LA Metro, it's like $1.75. You get free transfer. So you don't actually have to pay a transfer if you're going in the same one-way direction. You don't have to pay for a transfer. I know where I'm coming from. We used to have to pay $1 to transfer back in Philly. Out here, you don't have to pay to transfer. However, I live in Culver City, and the Culver City buses are different. So it's actually $1 to travel in the Culver City buses, and then it's like 25 cents to transfer. So like if you take two buses, it'll usually be like $1.25, versus like if you take two buses in LA proper. Let me say LA proper, because Culver City is in LA County, but it's its own city. And then in LA proper, if you transfer a bus, it's free. Now, let's say you were to transfer a bus, in my case, like from Culver City to LA, then it's actually, you gotta pay the full fare. So if I take $1 bus in Culver City and then I go on a LA bus, it's gonna charge me the $1.75. But if I take a bus in LA for $1.75 and then I transfer to a Culver City bus, it's like 40 cents. I know, the whole thing is weird. I didn't even know that at first. I actually had to figure that out when I was looking on my tap card. I was like, why are these people charging me for transfer? And then when I messaged them, they were like, oh, you're in 2 different bus systems. So you can use the same exact tap card. You can use it for both cities. Yeah, it's weird. And then I know Santa Monica has the big blue bus. I've never taken them, but I'm figuring it will probably be the same as if you're transferring to like a Culver City bus with the LA buses. All very complicated. So that's $1.75 for the regular buses in LA, $7 for the day pass, and the weekly passes are $25. The monthly passes are $100. Now, if you're a student, a senior, or disabled or something, then you can actually get discounted fare. And also, if you're low income, you can get discounted fares. I'm not sure what exactly the discounts are, but I'll actually post a link down below that takes you to it, and hopefully that helps. Also, your job, you can get tax-free fare through your job. And I had realized this like late last year, so I actually signed up for the benefit for my job, but I only signed up for like $150 worth. So they're like taking about $3 or so out of my paycheck every week. But it's tax free. So instead of me, after I get my paycheck, I buy stored value to put on my card. Instead of that, they actually sent me a separate Visa card that I can use to put stored value onto my tap card. And I only did it for $150 because, like I said, I'm about to get a car. I'm just trying to find one right now. So I probably won't be taking the bus for more than another month or so. So it doesn't make sense for me to get a bunch of money on it. As far as how the bus lines work, so it's weird. So in LA, they have like the regular buses which go along the routes, right? And those are like the regular orange buses, but then they also have these rapid buses, which is like a faster version of the regular buses on a lot of major routes. So like, for example, on Western, you have the 207 that goes along Western. And then you have the 757, I believe it is, that is the rapid version. And then the rapids, they only stop at every major intersection. So they skip over all those small stops. And then you have the regular buses that stop at every single stop. So if you're like in a rush or something, you'll probably hop on a rapid. As long as it's stopping near an intersection, wherever it is that you're going, then you'll be able to get there a lot faster using the rapid. They also have the dash buses, which I've only taken the dash a couple times, and it's just these buses. They have these little smaller routes. And those also move pretty quickly, but I've only taken those a couple times. It's kind of confusing, to be honest, but I'll post the link to the routes with those. They also have these express blue buses that goes along the freeways, and I'll also post the link to those ones. It'll be a lot easier to get out your car, hop on an express bus, than to sit in that traffic on them freeway, because them freeways, that traffic, no joke. I promise you, I've been in many cities, and ain't nothing like LA traffic. There is nothing like LA traffic, which is why I'm not looking forward to driving. But what can you do? You gotta just live with it until they create flying cars, okay? Now let me get to the part of talking about the metro rail lines. I think the trains here are great. The trains here can pretty much get you anywhere in LA that you're trying to go. There are trains that connect to everywhere, that gets you wherever it is that you're trying to go. If you're trying to go to Long Beach, North Hollywood, Santa Monica, Redondo, East LA, El Monte, Pasadena, Northeast LA, wherever it is that you're trying to go, there is a train that goes close by there, and I'm gonna tell you guys about the major train systems out here. Now, the Expo line is one that I used to take frequently, and that goes between Santa Monica and downtown 7th Street Station. And I used to take that a lot because the first month I was here, I actually worked downtown. And it's also the light blue line. There's two blue lines. There's a regular dark blue regular line, and then there's a light blue line, which is the Expo line. I thought I should point that out because at first I used to get them mixed up, but the Expo line goes Santa Monica to downtown LA, and then they have some stops in between. Like, it stops in downtown Culver City, which is more north of where I live in Culver City, and Crenshaw. It stops near the Staples Center. It stops by the Convention Center. So it has some major stops along the way, and it kind of runs along, I'll call it what that highway is, the I-10. It runs kind of along there. So if you have to take the I-10 and you don't want to deal with traffic, you get on the Expo line. The Green Line, another train that I used to take a lot to get to work. That one goes from Redondo to Norwalk. It stops where the regular blue line stops to get you to Long Beach. And it also stops like in Hawthorne. There's a Crenshaw station too. It stops near my job in El Segundo. And then it goes down to Redondo Beach. The next one is the Red Line. And the Red Line goes from North Hollywood to the Union Station downtown. There's two major stations downtown. So there's a 7th Street Station, and then there's Union Station. The Red Line stops at both, but it ends at the Union Station. It also, along the way, I think it stops by Hollywood and Vine. So if you're trying to get to Hollywood, the Red Line would probably be the way to go. And then it also stops in Universal Studio. What's that called? Studio City. It stops up there. And then it goes up to North Hollywood. The Purple Line. The Purple Line has a similar route as the Red Line. And I think they're trying to expand that line. But that one doesn't go past Western and Wilshire, which is Koreatown area. So it stops in the Koreatown area instead of going up to North Hollywood. It stops in the Koreatown area, then it goes back down along the same route as the Red Line to Union Station. The next line I want to talk about is the Blue Line, and the Blue Line goes along the 110, which goes from like downtown to Long Beach, which is basically what the Blue Line does. It makes stops in like the Watts, Compton, Anaheim, and then it goes down to all the way down to Long Beach. I think around the 12th or so, they're having a car thing down there. My coworker lives down there, so we're probably actually gonna go to that. And so I'm gonna go actually for the first time hop on the Blue Line. I have not taken the Blue Line yet, so I'm kind of excited to see what it is. There are two other, I don't think these are trains. These are like fast buses that kind of works like trains. And it's the Silver Line and the Orange Line. I have not taken the Orange Line. It goes from North Hollywood to the Warner Center, which is like in northern LA. And then you also have the Silver Line, which I have taken, that goes from the downtown area down to Long Beach. Now, as far as the pros and cons of the transit system, I will say for the pros is that you don't have to sit in traffic. Out here, the traffic is so bad, you guys. Like, I can't stress it enough how bad the traffic is. The traffic will give you a headache. I don't even drive out here, and I get a headache from the traffic every time I'm in the Uber. Like, I've been in the Uber just sitting on the freeway. I can't imagine driving in this traffic, but I'm gonna have to do it, and I'm not looking forward to it. But in taking the public transit, you can avoid traffic. Also, it's a lot cheaper to take public transit. Like I said, I only put about $60 per month on my Tap card, and in totality with the public transit plus Ubering, I spend at most $200 per month on transportation, versus like if you were to, let's say, be driving and then maybe you have car payments or something, then you probably be spending closer to like $500 or more on transportation. Also, another pro is that when you're on the public transit, you are able to do a lot more versus just sitting in traffic and being stuck, and then you have to be paying attention on the road because some of these drivers are crazy. They come from all over, so they're crazy. You don't have to just be sitting in traffic. You can actually read. I know for me personally, I look over my budgets, I read, I update stuff, I work on stuff that I'm working on whenever I'm on the transit systems. I know I won't be able to do that anymore once I start driving, but that's another pro of taking the public transit system. Now, the negatives of the public transit, and I will have to say the negatives do outweigh the positives, sadly. But if you come out here and you don't really have much of a choice at the time, then public transit is the way to go. So now let me get into the negatives. So I'm going to start off with the good kind of negatives. So flexibility. You don't have the same flexibility you would have if you had a car. Like, if you're trying to get somewhere, sometimes the bus is not the most quickest way to get there. Like, sometimes having a car would be a lot quicker than having to deal with the buses. So, and then flexibility, as far as there are some parts of the city that the buses do not go. So that's another thing with being flexible, like, which is really why I need a car, because the bus sometimes is just not the best way. Also, the stuff that you have to put up with on these buses. Now, we all know wherever you are, public transit can be a hassle. Like, you have so many different kind of people that come on the public transit, and out here is no different. It actually worse. Like, look, in some parts of the city, I do not take the bus because I already know the characters I'm going to run into in that part of the city. So I don't take the buses in those parts of the city. If it's not like the nicer areas, I'm not taking the bus because I just cannot deal with what you see on there sometimes. Just the other day, one of the bus that I take to work, right? And I'm in a nicer area. And the bus that I take to work, so the bus had stopped like a block away, and I was wondering why the bus stopped before it got to me where I was supposed to get on. And I saw people coming off, and one of the guys, he walked up to me and he was like, "It's no point of you waiting, ma'am, because some homeless guy just threw up on the bus." Let's just say I just Ubered to work that day, and the rest of the week I actually just Ubered to work because I just cannot be bothered. Like, I had the 30% Uber discount, so it was only costing me like $4.50 to get to work. So I was just Ubering to work because I just couldn't be bothered. Like sometimes the buses here do that to you. Like, you just can't be bothered with some of the foolery. Like, I know it's this one guy that always gets on the bus in the evenings when I'm coming home sometimes, and he'll have like 3 huge bags. And the bus has to sit there for like 5 minutes and wait for him to take all 3 big old, like, these bags are like this big, this tall, and like he like one at a time coming on the bus with the bags. And I'm just like, and you have to sit there and wait. Like, it delays the bus about 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, it's just stuff like that. And then where I used to live as well, it was so many characters on those buses. Like, it just got to the point I couldn't even be bothered taking the bus over there anymore. I was just like, I'll just Uber. I was just shelling out money on Uber because I'm like, I just couldn't be bothered. It's just like, it's some characters on the buses in Philly, but not to this extent. And I think because it's just so much homeless people here, and then some of them are kind of mentally ill too. Like, sometimes they get into it with passengers, And there's buses that I've been on where they're ready to fight, they're ready to pop off, and you don't know what's gonna happen. So you're just sitting there looking like you're ready to run out the bus because you don't know what these people are going to do. And that's a major negative in my opinion. I haven't had to deal with it, like the people trying to fight each other in this area, but where I used to live, like they used to do that, and I just couldn't take it anymore, so I just used to Uber. All types of crazy characters on these buses in LA. The other negatives of the bus, it kind of piggybacks into the previous one, is that it's just sometimes not sanitary. It's not really sanitary at times. Sometimes it looks dirty, and I'll say, like, in certain areas the buses are cleaner than in other areas. So sometimes I'm on the bus, I don't sit down depending on how it looks. And I'm not even the type of person who feels like I'm too good for anything at all. I'm not that girl. But I'm not gonna sit on a dirty seat. I'm just not gonna do that. So that's also the negative of the buses. Now, as far as like how I personally get around, like I said before, I do both public transit and Ubering. So this is typically what I do. And if you're moving here without a car, you might want to try this method. It works for me and I feel pretty safe and I get around just fine. I don't have a problem getting around. So during the week, I will take the public transit to work, because where I live, I really only have to take 1 or 2 buses if I really wanted to. I really only have to take 1 bus. It's just that involves a little bit more walking versus one of the buses stops by my house. I can hop on that, go to the station, hop on the next one, and it takes me near my job. Then I can just walk to work, or I could hop on the train and get closer to work, but sometimes I just walk and I just call that my morning exercise because it's only like a 15-minute walk. It's not that bad. And then on the weekends, or like if in the evenings I have to go somewhere, then in those situations, I typically, depending on the traffic that day, I will just Uber. But if I look on the traffic and how long it's gonna take me to get there on Uber, and I look and I see that, okay, if I hop on this train and this train, I'll get there in 30 minutes, but if I Uber, it's gonna take me an hour, then I'm gonna hop on the train. If you take the bus to work, you do have to just sit and plan it out, like, okay, how long is it gonna take me? Where do I need to go? It's a little bit of work, but you don't really need a car in LA if you don't want to drive, or if I know some people are afraid of the road. I personally am afraid of the road. I didn't grow up around people that drove really. So I never learned to drive. I actually just paid someone to teach me to drive. So I'm actually buying myself my first car. I know it's sad to say 25 and I've never had a car. So, but it happens. I think not having a car throughout life has just taught me to be more appreciative. And I don't like driving. I would not be getting a car if I didn't need to be flexible. I promise you, I would not. So I'm telling you, it's possible to survive out here without a car. It's just, you just have to deal with certain things that you may not want to deal with. And you also have to just be a little bit of a planner. That's just really all that it is. But you can survive LA without a car, at least for a little while. Now, if you're coming out here for acting or something in entertainment or something like that, you are going to need to eventually be flexible. So eventually you are going to probably have to get a car to really be able to do as much as you want to do. It doesn't mean you cannot do what you need to do without a car. It just means that it's either gonna cost you more because you're gonna have to Uber a lot, or it's going to cause you to not want to go to certain things because you know it's gonna be a hassle on the buses. But it is possible, you guys. Anything is possible. But yeah, I know I was rambling a little bit in this video. I'm so sorry. thank you guys once more so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I will see you guys in my next video.